So I didn't look who that was, man. Who was the guy talking about Sue earlier? Was that you, Klein?
It was starts with an S.
Swervin.
He's not here.
Swervin. Was it Swervin?
Yeah, Swervin.
Yeah, okay. So Swervin. All right, so Swervin, we're going back to you, right? So this is where we were looking at the 15-minute, right? We needed that to reset, and I'll go back in the vid, but yeah, so we had a 15-minute red moon, it pulled back, and this is right here. Let me share my screen. Share my screen with the world. All right. So now you take a look. All right. So here's SUI, right? And right here is where we were marking out the bounce. See right here. And what we were looking for was we were waiting for the 15 minutes. So this is where he was calling out a long area right here. And we marked right here that we had to come off the floor, and that would create it. And then what you would need is the volume, which right here, it didn't bounce here, it actually went way over here. But once it bounced, it would make a move sideways, which it did, and then that would be his long, right? So that's kind of where this circle here would be his intro. We were pretty close to it. So we were
that 15. It never did a retest on the zero line, did it?
well, what it did was, so the RSI is at the bottom. It broke through. You see how it broke through the zero line right there?
Yeah.
Pushes up, and then right there it goes sideways. But right now the RSI and the 1 hour,
okay,
pretty sure are moving up at that time. So if I look there, you can see that the 1 hour, we expected it to come down and then move to the upside. So right there, the 1 hour bent. You can see right here, this is where the 1 hour went sideways.
Yep.
So that would have triggered the 15-minute, which also bumped right there. And that's where you see the volume. The test was right here. When it broke the zero line, came back up, went sideways, and then it broke up, right? So if he had his alert set on his 15-minute moon, he would have got an alert on this here, and then he would have got his 15-minute trend as well. But that's his entry point right there. So all played out the way it was supposed to. AP3, I don't remember. What was the other one that we broke down? I think we broke down.
I gotta go have dinner. Are you on for a little while?
I gotta make a run here, but we'll probably jump back on. We'll do tomorrow morning as well. So let me just go through. I'm trying to think.
Okay.
What was the other?
I got a few minutes.
Yeah, what was the SIU? But we were also looking at render. All right, we're looking at render. Let's go back to render, and we're waiting for render to break out, right? So this is where see this line right here. So we're waiting for render to come down and touch, right, and then break out, right? That's based on the 15-minute RSI. So now let me slide over to the 1 hour, right? Because the 1 hour is always the beginning of everything. So the 1 hour, you can see here, the 1 hour starts to go down, and then right here is where the 1 hour breaks to the top side. See? Now at that time, if we're looking at our 15-minute, we can see that's also where the 15-minute breaks up. You see?
Yeah.
So now we run into the same circumstance. Now we have the 1 hour headed up, the 15-minute RSI comes down, starts to push. We get a 15-minute moon. Now the thing about this is when you get a 15-minute moon, you need a retesting of the volume to come down, but the trade is to enter on the trend. So the trend actually came in early here. So you have the 15-minute push up, went sideways, and then the 15-minute trend hit, and that would have been his trade right there. So that's the next thing. The next thing you guys will have is like when you have a 15-minute moon, you go to the trend. You're trying to catch the pullback for the trend, right? So 15-minute moon, press to the top, pulls back, starts to go up. Then there's a trend, and then you have a move. This one basically pushed up, caught a trend, and continued on. So that's the difference right there. We don't need the retesting of the volume because you have the 15-minute trend. That's basically overriding your volume retest. So we're going to cover that tomorrow.
I'm looking at one that's got a lot of got us moving a lot. It's WIF.
What is it called?
It ran up like mad. WIF.
All right. So this one here breaks over. So now it needs a 15-minute reset. RSI, 15 minute just crossed over. What you need is the 1 hour crossing over, which you have here. And you can see the volume needs to retest on the 1 hour, so that's good. Slide to your 3 minute, and what you're going to see here is how weak the 3 minute is. Now, because of how the 3 minute is still positive volume here, that means that this is going to go sideways for a while. So if you're looking to short this, you would basically be looking to get the highest price on the 3 minute bounces, right? So your entry is basically at the top of this candle here, right? So you'd be looking to enter somewhere on 29.62 to 29.59. So 29.50 would be like my entry point. So I would be looking for, for it to touch up there. But I would expect this to, we can see how the 3 minutes already bending up. I would expect this to have one more push and kind of like try to get to that area, maybe 29.20, right? And then start to move forward. But what you're waiting for here is you need the 3 minute volume to show you a little more weakness, and then you can start getting into that, right? You just don't want to get caught with the last minute, hurrah while you're waiting on that. But I mean, it's definitely getting weaker.
That's likely to push to a short then.
Yeah. It's coming to a short. I mean, you have a 15-minute red moon coming. So what you would do there is set your alert on there, but also set your alert on your trend, right? All you're waiting for is for the 1 hour to commit to the down move, which should happen because it's already crossed over. It needs to retest the volume anyways. So to you, it's just watching the 3 minute develop into a trade, right? So if you see on the 3 minute, if these candles start to create these lows, start to create higher highs, right? Then it's going to continue to move upwards, and you're just waiting for it to get exhausted, and eventually you'll get your move. So we would expect this to kind of like maybe play out a little bit higher, get rid of that volume. All depends on the volume, and then maybe make a secondary move to that side, and then a final low weak move, and then that would be kind of where I would be looking for the exhaustion. So probably an average about 29 cents. I would be looking.
But the highest we've seen is probably about 29.50.
Yeah, that's the highest I think it would go on there. I don't think it's going to spike past that. Average price for it is at 29 cents. So I'd be looking anything above 29 cents. I would be looking right now until we can get this. Now, if this 3 minute tries to push up and it doesn't get anything, then you can jump on this short earlier because the volume is starting to get real weak, right? Because it's not.
Okay.
If you look at the 5 minutes, it's
all right. I gotta go to dinner.
Coming down. Go enjoy dinner, brother.
I'll be on later, but all right. Thank you.
Later, bro. All right. So I'm trying to think. What was the other one? We had render. We had render. Oh yeah, that's what we got. We had ID. ID. Let's go over to ID real quick. All right, so ID, let's slide over to 15 minute. All right, so with ID, let's see how we played out here. So we're expecting, just like we expected, here's a 15 minute, here's your line. It hit it directly. We were waiting for that pullback. There it is. This was the line that we have for support, and we went a little bit below that, but the RSI bottomed out, starts to head up, right? So if we mark that out, 15 minute starts to head up, we get a 15-minute green moon and a trend, and then boom, fucking ID exploded. Okay. Now let's go take a look at the 1 hour. More than likely, there you go. There's the bend up on the 1 hour. Then you get your 1 hour green moon. So that played out. Okay. The other one was ICP. Now ICP was a short position that they were calling out for overbought. So let's see how ICP played out. 15-minute. I don't think I marked ICP because it was a short call out. So ICP had a call out here, 1 hour red. What are we looking at? Right here. So they were looking for an ICP 15-minute red moon right here for a short and the RSI to play out. Now the problem was at that time, the RSI was crossing over, so that's where that was. But what happened, as you can see here, is the 15-minute came down, but then it found volume and it went back up. Now we can see there that it's a tough short because, first of all, the volume, when we looked for the pullback here, was kind of like it was rejecting and staying above the 0 line, which it did all the way. But more importantly, let's take a look at the 3-minute. And that way you can kind of understand what I'm saying. So 3-minute comes down, and this is the section. It breaks positive, comes down, RSI has to push up, shows a little more breakdown, and starts to move through there. So it's just watching the volume side of it. And unfortunately, what happened was people came in there and they bought the volume piece, and that changed that 1 hour. But we want a 1 hour red moon to start the short, right? But we didn't have a 1 hour red moon. It wasn't even, if you look right here, you can see the 1 hour red moon wasn't even close. So therefore that's why you can't take that short, because you weren't getting an alert on the red moon. All right, the other one was, we looked at ID. All right, so that's a recap of all the ones that we looked at. They played out just like we were looking for. Just need to be patient and let them, come into their own, and then you'll do really well. All right, guys, so we're going to hop back on. That's just a quick review of what we looked at earlier. And yeah, we'll keep digging into this and eventually get the 1, 2, 3, 4 steps.